Hi everyone, this is Hasan with Media Unlock Tech, and today we'll be replacing the LCD on an iPhone 6 Plus. And a couple things you're gonna need: a broken phone, obviously, and you need a Phillips head screwdriver, you need a pentalobe for the bottom screws, pair of tweezers, prying tool. Not a have to have, but it'll be nice to have a flat tool. And on this video, I'll try to be as descriptive as possible, so I'll take my time on that for your first timers. Let's make sure our device is powered off. And we're gonna start with the bottom screws over here. There's two of them. Using with our pentalobe tool. Let's get those out. And as far as opening the screen, you can either use a suction cup. In this case, the screen is not cracked, obviously. I could use a suction cup, but I'll prefer a flat tool. It just makes it a lot easier. And the way you go by is where the headphone jack is. You kind of go in between the LCD and the frame. Just pry it open and then gently lift it up. Now the screen is separated. Since there's clips over here on the top, you can't really just lift it up, so you have to pull it towards the bottom of the screen, the frame, gently, so it pops out of the way. Then you can lift it up. In 90 degree, it'll be just fine. You don't want to pull it any further down. And first off, we're gonna unplug our battery cable, and there's two screws holding that. And right here, let's go ahead and start with those. And these are slightly different size. You're gonna notice that the one next to battery is gonna be a little bit longer. So as you take it apart, make sure you know where they belong. And here's our battery connector. You can use a flat tool or just simply your fingers to pop the connector out. Now we can move up to the LCD connectors. There's gonna be the connector for the LCD, digitizer, and the front camera, and the home button, fingerprint scanner. And there's a plate right here and 5 screws holding it down. And as you take them apart, make sure you put them on the right spots because they are also different size. I'm going to start with the bottom ones. I'm kind of going to put it in the same shape or order how the plate looks like. So as I'm putting it back, I know exactly where they go. I'll put the plate right next to it. That way we know which screw goes which hole. Now let's get to our LCD connectors. Here's the first one. You can just pop it out with your fingernails. There's the home button cable right underneath the digitizer and the front speaker. Our new screen. Before we install all the parts to the back, we're gonna go ahead test the screen on this one. That way we're making sure everything is good to go. First off, make sure the battery is unplugged. You're gonna take these two cables, plug them right here. One of them is digitizer, and the other one will be for the LCD. And this is just to see if the LCD is working and the digitizer is functioning properly. We plug the cable back on for the battery, and let's go ahead power it on. Okay. Once it's on, we're gonna check for dead spots. If there's any leak on the LCD, we're gonna test the touch. Gonna slide the screen a couple times left or right just to make sure everything is functioning properly. And if that's the case, we can go ahead and install all our parts back on this new screen. which was the front camera, proximity sensor, back plate, and home button. And again, these screens we sell on Amazon. We are affiliated with iScreen Direct, and they are good quality screens, and we make sure to test them before we send it off to you. But just to be safe, it's good to do that. Alright, now the phone is powered back on. We're gonna go ahead, slide it, and then make sure the touch is working. Okay. We can hold on the camera and then slide it up and down. And now all parts of the screen is actually touching properly. And I don't see any leakage or bad spots on the LCD. We can go ahead, power it back off. Right now we know the screen is good to go. We're gonna go ahead and install all the parts from the previous screen to this screen. Let's unplug the battery again first. And then the two cables for the digitizer and the LCD. Alright, here's the original LCD we took off from our phone, and we're gonna go ahead and take out these parts. There's gonna be a few of them: earpiece speaker, front camera, back plate with the home button cable, and the actual home button assembly. I like to start from the top part, and there's 3 screws right here, and let's go ahead and start those. They are Phillips head, and there will be slightly different sizes, so pay attention to that as you take him out. So once the screws are off, mine were loose, actually they're still attached to the plate. You can just put them aside. And right underneath is the front camera. Just fold it up. This is the earpiece speaker. Pops right off, nothing holding it down. And then right here is going to be your proximity sensor. But I'll recommend you go underneath with a flat tool, because there's a little bit of adhesive, so it will help taking it out. Or you can use like tweezers. Either way will work out, as long as you can get underneath right here instead of just pulling it. But once it's loose, it'll just come right off. And now the second step, this gold piece, it's also glued to the frame. I like to go right underneath here, actually, underneath the cable, and just pull it out as a whole. There we go. And that is the front camera and proximity sensor assembly. And let's move up to the back plate. There will be 3 screws on this side, 3 on that side. These right here. 1 on top and 1 on the bottom holding the plate. So I'm going to start with the side screws. They are going to be same size, so it doesn't matter what order you take them out. So my screw is getting a little bit demagnetized, so let's do that, rub them together. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more magnetized. Helped a little bit. The other side is going to be same exact thing, 3 of them. Now there's 1 on top. And this one is slightly bigger, so be sure to separate it from the other 6 screws that you take it out from the sides. And here's on the bottom. And before we remove the plate, let's go ahead and remove the home button assembly. There's 2 screws holding it down. And after removing those two screws, there's nothing else holding the plate. You can just pop it out. You just be sure to remember which way it goes back on. And here's the actual home button, and it is plugged in right here, so but it opens up from this way. So you just get underneath, unplug it, and as far as the home button itself, you can just push it from the front side of the LCD towards the back. And instead of just pulling it, it's better to get underneath the cable right here so you don't damage anything, because it does have just a little bit of adhesive underneath. Now the home button is off, plate is off. We got the back plate next. I start from here. Just lift it up. These are not attached, it was just stuck. So just lift it up from here. On the bottom though, you don't want to just pull it. There's right here. That's where your home button actually plugs in. So when you're taking this out, kind of be careful with that. What you want to do is gently pull it by holding down this cable so you don't tear it. What I like to do is just hold it down with my finger and gently pull it. And right underneath the cable, there's a metal plate right there. So I like to get underneath that metal plate to help it remove. Be careful not to poke the cable or damage it. It's right there. So our goal is to get underneath this plate. There we go. So that's how it looks like, the back plate. And that's where the home button plugs in. If this metal piece separates from this cable, don't worry about it, it's not a huge deal. Your home button will work just fine after that. It just helps to stabilize the connector. But when I do it, I like to do it the right way. So if you can take it out, it's a plus. If not, it's no big deal, guys. You're not going to end up hurting anything. Now we separated everything from the original screen. Now we can go ahead and install them back on the screen we purchased from Amazon. Alright, now we got our screen and we are ready to install all the parts back on it. And I'm going to start with the back plate. And the way it goes, this part with the sticker goes on the bottom. And this long cable, which is for the home button, goes on top. Just line it up with the holes and just kind of lay it on there. And what I like to do is, I like to put the top screw on first. That way every other hole will be lined up, which makes it a little bit easier. Let's get our Phillips tool. Here's the top one. Now we have 3 on this side and 3 on the other side. They're all going to be same size screws. So let's go ahead and start those. And guys, if this is your first time doing this repair, take your time. There's no need to rush it. Make sure you put all the screws back on the right spots, because especially over here, if you are putting a little bit longer screw, what's going to happen is when you install the screen, it's going to end up touching the other parts of the phone and you might end up damaging it. So just because it fits on the hole, it doesn't mean it's the right screw. So please pay attention to that. And that is another reason why I'm taking my time trying to show you as detailed as possible on this repair. Now we put all the six screws back on the plate. We can move down on the home button. This cable, just push it all the way. Make sure it sits right there. And take the home button piece. Just lay it on the back. And you cannot really get this wrong. There's two holes right here. It's gonna match up with the plastic pieces. It's just no other way to put it on. But it's good to know how it goes on. And this cable plugs right on there. And that's the home button. Now we're gonna put the plate over it so it stays where it's supposed to. And as far as the plate, it goes this way. And there will be two screws holding the plate down. And as far as the plate, there will be one more screw goes right there on top of the home button assembly. Okay, we got everything as far as home button and the back plate. Now we're gonna move up top, and that's gonna be our front camera and proximity sensor. And this one is a little complicated, but it's actually very simple. The way you go by, pay attention to this gold piece, and there's a tiny hole right on top of that. And that hole will match with the plastic piece right here. So I'm gonna hold it like this, line it up, and just set it right on the plastic piece. And it should look like that once you set it on there. What you want to do, you can just pull these cables aside and then fold the camera down. And next step is the proximity sensor. There's gonna be two spots for that. You just lay them on there. There's no wrong way to put it actually. Just sits right on. And before you put the front camera back on, you're gonna go with the earpiece speaker. And on this one, this is how it goes on. You're gonna see four little springs that will make a contact with the gold circle contacts right here. So that's how it goes on. Sits just like that, and then the camera goes over it. And once you put that on there, you take your metal plate, you just place it on top of the cables, and there will be three screws to hold this metal plate down. So let's start with the smallest one. I will go right here, and the other two are going to be same size. And now we have the front camera earpiece speaker assembly installed. As far as these connectors, you want these to be lined up in a certain way, so when you're going back on your phone to install them, they don't overlap. So over here you can see, you can plug this cable, but when it comes to this, it's actually blocking it. So this cable needs to move towards the back. This is how you do it. You turn the screen around, you hold the cable for the front camera and fold it aside, just like that. And let the other ones lay down, and you put this one on the very top. And now if you look all the connectors, now they're all exposed, and you can actually connect them in an order. That is a little tricky part that I noticed before, and I actually struggled with it. But as long as you keep the front camera cable on the very top, everything else will just fall in the right place. Alright, now we are ready to install the LCD back on the phone. And we're gonna start with the cable on the very bottom, which is gonna be for the digitizer. And then next one is gonna be the LCD. And the last one over here is going to be the front camera. And here's the home button cable. Make sure all the plugs are snug and all the way on there. And now we can put our plate. What this does is just holds the connectors down so they won't just pop back out. And the way it goes, it's going to be just like this. And there will be 5 screws holding it down. And if you remember, we separated these by the size. So we're going to put it back on the same order. I'm going to start with the bottom ones. And those are the smallest sizes. Here's the next one in the middle. That is also very similar to bottom screws. It's a very small one. The longest one is going to be going on the right top corner. And the top left corner is going to be slightly shorter than that one. The next step, once you install all these, the battery connector, let's go ahead, plug it in. And here's the plate that goes over the battery connector. And the long screw will go closer to battery. And here's the other one, which is the short one, goes towards the frame. Now everything is back on there. We are ready to close up our LCD. And this is how you do it. The top part has little plastic clips, and these should go underneath the frame, so that's how it locks down. You're going to start with the top. Make sure it's all the way. It's flush with the frame. And you're going to start from top towards the bottom. Just kind of push it gentle. If it doesn't want to go down, don't just press it. Lift it up. Check and see if there's anything underneath, stuck or broken glass, maybe loose screws. But in this case, it went on actually pretty nice. And the last thing we need to do is to put our bottom screws. And those are the Pentalobe ones, so we will use our Pentalobe screwdriver to tighten those up. And let's power on our phone. Looks like we did a good job on this one. It's another successful repair by iScreen Direct and the Media Unlock Tech. And I'm just going to check it out real quick just to make sure the touch and the LCD is working fine. And if that's the case, we're good to go. Alright, the phone is powered back on. Seems like it's working great. Thank you for watching, and I really appreciate your feedback. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to comment down below. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm David with Media Unlock Tech, and as you have seen, we just finished doing an iPhone repair, and I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit, let you guys know that we have partnered up or an affiliate of iScreen Direct. And so we thought it would be cool to make these videos for you guys, but then have the actual screen that we use, the company's screen that we use. We kind of partnered up with them. And so there's a link, as you guys probably see right now. You can actually click this link right now, and you'll be able to go over to Amazon and purchase these screens so that when you're doing your repair, you're actually using the same screen, same brand screen that we use for these repairs. So hopefully that helps you guys out, of course. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments, you can leave them down below or send us a message here on YouTube. We appreciate it, and thanks for stopping in.